As we heal our trauma, it's almost as if we connect to and go back and collect these parts or aspects of ourselves that have been forgotten along the way, that have been neglected, not listened to, not seen, not understood, not had their needs met. And we kind of welcome them into our compassionate care. And this can be a really beautiful healing process, but also quite an activating one for those of us who have grown up through experiences of misattunement and neglect. So if we're not used to being seen, being heard, being cared for and loved, it can feel really confronting to connect to those parts of ourselves and actually give ourselves the experience of deep care and love that we've been missing. A really beautiful way to start this process from a somatic perspective is called remembering the forgotten. And in this practice, what we can do is we can tune into parts of our body that tend not to get our attention and really tune into them and give them attention, validation, and care. So for example, we might connect to our wrists or our pinky finger or our knees or the side of our cheek, these parts of our body that don't really tend to get our attention or to receive this sort of nurture and care. And so in this practice, we can choose to pick one or multiple of these parts and bring our attention there, perhaps bring our hands there, and even gently stroke these areas of our body. It's been really interesting working with this practice with many clients that the initial experience of offering care and particularly touch and this gentle stroking to the body can feel quite confronting or even difficult, and for some of us it might even feel repulsive if we've never cared for our bodies. If no one has ever touched us or caressed us lovingly, it can feel weird or bad or wrong. So if that's something that comes up for you, just an invitation to kind of notice it, notice where that's from, and see if you actually have the capacity to tune into and offer yourself this gentle care. So this practice is best lying down either on your back or on your side. And when you do it, when you tune into the part of the body that you want to give that attention and care to, that you want to remember, you can connect to the affirmation, I remember you are here. You are no longer forgotten. So let's give it a try. This practice, although it's very gentle and very subtle, can again really bring up feelings of grief, of not having had the love and care we needed or not being able to give it to ourselves. It can also bring up feelings of anger for not being able to experience or receive these things from others or ourselves, or as I've mentioned, it can cause this feeling of repulsion. So just watch what happens for you. And again, it might be different at different points on your healing journey. We're constantly evolving and changing, and therefore we respond to the practices differently. If it does feel too confronting, remember that you have agency, you have choice. You can choose to come into a side lying position, the inviting safety practice, or you can choose to come out of the practice at any time you choose. This practice may also invoke stories and parts of your past that require processing. So if there are memories or stories coming up, it's really helpful to journal them, or if you're in therapy, to take them to therapy for deeper processing. So before we begin, choose a part of your body that has been forgotten, that you wish to connect to. And seeing as I intuitively touched my wrist here, I will choose my wrists. And you can come into a lying down position. You can choose whether you want to be on your back or side lying. I'm going to side lie today. And take a moment to settle into the position that you've chosen. And if it feels safe, you can close your eyes, gently orienting in, allowing your breath to be natural. And just tuning into a part of your body that has been forgotten and that you are choosing to connect to today with this level of compassion and care. And just, if it's possible, bringing your hands to these parts of your body, your very loving, caring, healing hands. We all have them. And noticing what it's like to connect in with that intention for care and nurture. How does that feel? And noticing what it's like to give that area, a little stroke, or perhaps a little pat feels more accessible. It's up to you. What feels right? How can you connect with kind, gentle touch? And what does that bring for you? For me, there's this immediate little connection to grief. No matter how much I heal, I think that lack of care early on stays. And so I always say there can never be enough care. So just being with the practice, wherever you've chosen to connect with, and connecting to that affirmation from the book, I remember you are here. You're no longer forgotten. And just be with that, breathe with that, noticing what arises for you, the feelings, perhaps the stories or memories, the desires. And taking a moment to integrate. And if this practice feels nourishing for you and healing, it's absolutely one to come back to again and again.